Hello YouTube. This is going to be an informal video. I don't really have much of a script. I'm going to mostly speak extemporaneously. I mean, I thought about it first and all that good shit, but I really want to weigh in on, and I know I'm late coming to it, but I really want to weigh in on the whole IQ gate thing. Yeah, I know, gate is kind of getting old. I've been watching a lot of the videos from Skeptical Heretic, Fringe Elements. I'm looking forward to their debate. Spock Talk, Evo Gen vids, and I watched all of HeyRuka's videos, which kind of started all this. I'm going to leave the actual racial genetics and IQ to the people who've already covered it, and certainly to Evo Gen vids, who's the closest thing to being an expert on the subject compared to those who I've seen weigh in so far. But being that my area of burgeoning expertise is on politics and history, I want to touch on something that I think a lot of people have kind of left out. I want to kind of speak towards the whole idea of white nationalism and the idea that we should be segregating the races that kind of underlines this whole thing. I had two things I really wanted to talk about before I even sat down and had time to make this video. TheElMoIsEviL already covered the first thing. So second thing, I want to cover that actual, like, the idea that we need to have separate sovereignty, racially homogeneous sovereignties for all the different races, because we just can't live together. I mean, that just, diversity causes racial tensions, apparently. I mean, you experience racial tensions when you have a diverse group, but what causes them, what fosters racial tension, what gets people to think of the different races as outgroups in the first place is the segregation, and I'll get to that. First, Ruka herself has admitted that her arguments are terrible, so if there's a white nationalist or someone else who wants to argue for creating a segregated societies, a bunch of different racially homogeneous countries, go ahead and send me a PM or write a comment or a video response and make a better argument, and I'll be sure to address it in time. But for now, I'm going to just cover the thing that as HeyRuka presents it. First, towards the end of the video, I have in the description, I think it's her second, well, it's her third video, I think. I don't know, she's made 4 total. It's either her second or her third. The link to the right one will be in the description. But towards the end, she actually talks about her idea about how she sets up what seems to be a false dichotomy between what she claims is the current status quo in society, where we have a system typified by what she calls forced diversity. And the solution to this is, the solution to this is what she proposes, that we have separate racially homogeneous countries. Minimally, the state level apparently is the smallest to still be effective, but she said ideally continent-wide, like white continent, black continent, Asian continent, Latin American continent, that kind of shit. The problem with this concept is that, first, our society today isn't typified by forced diversity. Yes, there are examples of things which you could call forced diversity. There's affirmative action in the education system and in a couple other workplaces, but there's a reason why they're there, and I'll get to it in a second. But what in fact typifies our current society is legal freedom of association. Now, there's social barriers to that, but legally, our society is overwhelmingly a freedom of association system. The problem is, what Ruka is proposing is that we segregate into different racial groups, because she claims that diversity is the source of the tension. Now, I grew up in the greater New Orleans area. Yeah, we have racial tensions. Yeah, we've even had violence in the last few hundred years. But the problem is, we're a melting pot society. People like to freely associate with other people. And one thing that I've had in my experience working with members of outgroups, going outside what I like to call the hometown bubble. Now, the hometown bubble's bigger than your simple hometown nowadays, because transportation and communication so fast, and you can go further easier. But anyway, when you work more, when you deal more with people from an out group, and the in group being people in your hometown bubble, when you work more with out groups, you get used to dealing with them. Yes, when you first have to deal with out groups, it's definitely going to be awkward. You don't quite relate to them. You have different cultural experiences, and sometimes misunderstandings or even purposeful harsh words can lead to violence from time to time, and often do, unfortunately. But the cause for all that is not the diversity of a group in and of itself. It's that at some point along the way there was segregation. People who are separate groups start to view other groups as the out group, as others, and they just tend to get a irrational fear and distrust of out groups. When you have diversity, people get used to dealing with each other. People start to have a common cultural experience. People stop hating each other and distrusting each other. When you have a very diverse society with a long tradition of diversity, skin color and race and straight or curly hair doesn't matter. When you have segregated, when you have racially homogeneous countries, now you have race and nationalism together, white nationalism, and now you have two of the three major reasons why people go to killing each other: nationalism, racism, and religion. You have two of those together. Usually it only takes one for people to start wars and kill everybody. Now you're going to set up a system where there's two. Your country and your race are... This is what kind of got us into World War I. There was a whole lot of nationalism. Nationalism was the same as race. Germans were superior, no French are superior, no the British are superior, and all these interlocking treaties, so that when an archduke got shot, everybody's geared up to go prove their race is the strongest, and we lost a generation for our trouble. Segregating races does not lead to peace and harmony and do away with racial tensions. It is the root of such tensions and racial violence. This is why people have responded to you with such harsh words and a lot of emotional arguments. Yes, to argue based solely on emotion is wrong, but it's not, like TheElMoIsEviL says, it's not wrong to use emotion as part of your assessment. And furthermore, one last point, your assessment that the atheist community are proving that they're just a step above the creationists by not being able to handle your disagreement with your views, and they're not able to see things your way. It's because your way is, well, stupid. History doesn't see things your way. I mean, look at segregation in the United States 50 years ago. Look at India is a good example. India, while not race, it was based on religion. When India won its independence from Britain, they said, well, Muslims and Hindus can't really work together. So what we're going to do is we're going to put each in their own separate country, and then everything will be peaceful. They won't have to deal, and it'll be perfectly fine. But there's a problem. In order to put all the Hindus in India and all the Muslims in Pakistan, somebody had to move. Now, particularly to those of you white nationalists out there who may be libertarians like myself, or conservatives who do care a great deal about private property rights, if we create these separate racial countries, somebody's got to move. Are you going to want to move? Are you going to feel good about black people or Hispanic people or Asian people when the white area is somewhere else and you have to move and a black man's going to move in your house? Are you going to be real keen on that idea? Are you going to give up your property that you worked hard for? Are you willing to give up your house and your home and your ancestral lands for this idea you're promoting? You may very well. I doubt most of you will. I know if we did this, I would like very much to stay here, and I will not be too happy if someone says I have to move because we're making racial hegemonies. It's not going to work. It is the root cause of problems. In fact, in India, this attempt caused a bloody civil war, one of the bloodiest in their history. Probably is the bloodiest civil war in India's history. The whole country was in flames. People in, not even armies against armies, people in the streets were at each other's throats. And even now, though civil war is over, there's Pakistan and all the Muslims and all the Hindus in India, and they still hate each other with a purple passion. Making two different countries for the two groups didn't cause peace, didn't relieve tension. It failed, and it fails everywhere else in history that this idea has been tried. You can argue liberalism, you can argue socialism, you can argue the free market capitalism, you can argue some kind of regulated capitalism. You can't argue racial segregation. It fails every time it's been tried.